What's good, boys and girls? Mike back at it again. And today we're in the shower, in the bathroom. Um, Title of the video obviously is how I accidentally made $126,000 at the age of 21 right out of college. Without further ado, let's get into it. All right, we are back. As you can see, we're in my office, so it's time to get serious. Just kidding. So, just for some context, I think it's helpful for me to clarify some background on some, I guess, things that I've done previously. So, I went to school, I studied computer science and finance, and this is 2021 when I graduated. And it was a pretty tough time because, as I'm sure like people can relate to this, if you're just graduating college, it's a pretty hectic time because you've about to finally like get this degree and you're trying to line up jobs. And for those that live in the US, like it's freaking difficult to land a job in the US right out of college because for some reason when you live in the US and you look at some of these job boards for entry level positions, they're looking for 2 years of experience somehow. Like, how is that even possible? Like, how can you ask for an entry level position but also ask for 2 years worth of experience? Besides the point, all that to say, very stressful time because I was trying to kind of like figure out what I was going to do. And I ended up getting lucky and get this internship doing software engineering at a tech consulting firm based in St. Louis, where I was previously living. And I interned there for a while. I actually interned there unpaid for a long time as well. And then finally started getting paid towards the end of my internship. And then I finally, after maybe like 6 months or something, I ended up getting a full time role as a software engineer. And it felt great getting that first role, but it was for honestly like what I would consider for that job a pretty low ball offer. I was getting paid like 55,000 bucks, which again, like out of college, is still like not bad. But at the time, I was kind of bummed out, and that actually kind of like led me to keep my options open and still apply while I was working at that firm to other positions because in a way, I thought I was being underpaid, but at the same time, I was not gonna like not accept this role because I want to get paid. And honestly, like I was so tired of rejection at that point because applying to roles and getting rejected, it's pretty brutal. Like it takes a toll. And honestly, it doesn't matter how qualified you are, you're going to get rejected more than likely from 95% of these job applications because the recruiter that's looking at these resumes, they're literally looking at it for like 5 seconds. So like many things have to line up for you to get a job. And it's funny because this whole story is kind of like that too. Like many things lined up. And that's why I kind of titled the video, accidentally making 126,000. Anyway, back to the story. Worked there for a little bit. Ended up getting connected with another company. I'm not gonna say the name because I'm kind of disclosing some like my salary and stuff in there, so I don't want to say anything. But then I got another role similar, but it was kind of a pivot. It was a project manager, product manager kind of role, which I was more interested in. And I was getting paid like 79K. It was a contract role, so not as appealing because most people like full-time roles. Whereas a contract role, you're working for staffing companies, what it's called. But it wasn't a big deal to me because beggars can't be choosers. So I ended up accepting that role. It was a 6 month contract, which is, again, pretty brutal for me because one, the job is not guaranteed, and two, the length of the contract was pretty short, 6 months. You blink and it's 6 months later. And I knew at the end of that 6 months, I would have to either get another job or I may get lucky and they may extend my contract another 6 months or another 1 year. So pretty much right after I got that job, I continued applying to other roles and interviewing at other places, which was insane. Like I couldn't catch a break. It felt like. And again, for those who can't tell by my accent, I'm not from here. I, at the time, was still on student visa. So again, very stressful. I had to lock in a job that I know I could kind of like chill at. And that brings me to my first point. Nothing worth anything comes easy in this life, in my opinion. I could have very easily just kind of been like, okay, it's fine. Let me just sit down and work at this 55K job for a year or 2 years or 3 years and get promoted and this and that. But like, that's not the person that I am. Like, I like to challenge myself, and I'm hungry too. And dude, like, people put a bad spin on this. Like, I fucking love money. I like money. I want to be rich. I want to make a lot of fucking money. And people make that like a bad thing for some reason. That's a great thing. That's capitalism. That's the backbone of the U.S. and many of great countries that are out there. And sorry for the tangent. This is just what it is. So again, you got to put yourself out there. Like, I swear I got rejected to like 200 roles, maybe more, honestly, before I landed the job at the second place. And this just goes to show you, like, if you're doing this right now, I promise you there is a great thing behind all the work that you're putting in right now, and you're going to get there. It's just a matter of time. So stick with it and believe in yourself and your abilities, and don't let your ego get hurt because some recruiter from freaking North Carolina rejected your resume. That's just part of the process. So like I said, I'm at the second job, kicking it, chilling, and then like I said, I had to keep applying to new places and see if I could land another job, like a full-time job. So after the 6 months was up, I had something lined up right away. Like, I wasn't going to get unemployed. So ended up getting connected to this really big tech company. Just think Elon Musk. That's it. And yeah, got this role that was definitely above my kind of skill level for sure, and ended up interviewing for it and went pretty far. It was like 4 rounds of interviews, which was insane. Like, I'm like, oh my God, like, dude, like, they were putting me through the ringer to give me this job, or to give me an offer. But ended up getting to the 4th round of interviews, and I'm talking technical round, behavioral round. So asking me technical questions, asking me, oh, what would you do in this situation? Or tell me about a time where you did this. Like all the type of questions that you guys like know. I know you guys have heard and been asked this, but I was able to go through those rounds and crush those rounds, and I was like putting hours at nighttime after my job preparing for these interviews. But ended up getting to the final round, and I bombed it. And it was not a good interview, and I was so upset. And right after the interview, I literally knew I was not going to get it. Like, they asked me a question I didn't even know, like, I did not know the answer to. And I may be a little bit like harsh. I may have not done as bad, and you guys will know why in a little bit. But I ended up getting an email from the hiring manager saying, oh yeah, like, hey, like, thank you for meeting with us over the past 2 weeks or whatever, but unfortunately we've selected the other candidate that went to the final round. So I was pretty bummed, and I swear that night I was at the gym and I was so pissed off, lifting heavy as shit, and then I was gonna just ignore it and move on. But I was like, you know what, like, I really like this job. It's a really great company, and I know they're gonna pay good money, because in big tech is like Google, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, those huge tech companies that are in the US. They pay good money for their employees. So I was like, you know what, Mike, like, calm down. Go ahead and send this thank you email to this guy, and like say that you're interested in like new opportunities if they come along in the future. So that's what I did. So I did this, send this guy, hey, thank you for messaging me, and we'd love to stay in touch. Let me know if there's any other opportunities that come along. I would love to interview you again, and just keep this channel open for the future. And I hear nothing. So I was like, okay, fine. 2 months goes by, and at that time there's like 1 month left till the end of my contract. Again, nighttime on like a Wednesday night it was. I'm at the gym, and I got a call. And I ignored it. It was at the gym. I'm like, dude, who the fuck is calling me at 8 p.m. at night? Like, I'm not gonna. It's probably some scammer from India. So I ignored it. They called again, and I was like, okay, like, let me respond. This may be important. It was the recruiter from this big company. And I said, hey, there's another role that just opened up for the same position that you applied for and you interviewed for a few months ago. uh, are you able to chat with the hiring manager tomorrow? I said, fuck yeah. I was so pumped and I could not believe it because literally, like, had I not sent that email, they wouldn't have reached out to me. Like, I truly believe in that. So the next day, I met with the hiring manager and he offered me the position like on the spot. And obviously, title of the video says that the offer was for 126,000, and it was right before my 22nd birthday, so I was still 21. And dude, I could not believe it. I was so pumped up and I was so excited, and I ended up accepting the job. Funny enough, I got laid off from that job by the CEO that came along a year later, and it was pretty brutal because again, like, I had changed like 3 4 fucking jobs in like the span of 2 years essentially. So I was pretty bummed out, but going back to, I guess, the steps that I was going to discuss with you guys. So number one, putting yourself out there. Number two is really putting yourself in a position that allows for opportunities to come your way. And I truly think that those nights of me applying to 20 places and getting rejected by pretty much all of them or most of them, and the nights that I spent preparing for interviews and applying for jobs that I was underqualified for, and putting myself out there, sending emails to people that were essentially rejecting me, I think those put me in a position for opportunities to come along. And it just goes to show you that sometimes things will happen to you that you don't even understand that ultimately lead to good things happening to you. And the last thing I say is that no one is ever coming to save you or help you or propel you to the next step. And I freaking love that, man. And I hope that, I know you guys that are watching this feel the same way. If you want to get something and make something happen, you got to go and grab it. You got to be willing to work hard for it. You got to be willing to do many, many things. If you want it, it's there to grab. But if you're not willing to work hard for it, there's somebody else who is and who will get it. So I hope you guys are motivated, and I hope that this was able to help you guys if you're going through a tough time with interviews, or if you're just about to graduate. Know that it's hard, but you will land something great. And it's just a matter of time before you get that 100K offer. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love you guys. Please subscribe, like. I really appreciate the love. And I hope that this helped.